Hey guys, Krootman here, and it's late, and I'm really tired as I leave for CES 2025 tomorrow. I'm going to have a lot of content on that, so please go ahead and check it out. I normally wouldn't have done a video this late and this off the cuff with this much limited testing, but Hardware Canucks released a video on the ARC B580, and then Hardware Unboxed followed it up with a great video. Links down below. I highly recommend you watching them, saying that there are serious issues with the B580 and older CPUs, including recommended CPUs like the 5000 series. And I wanted to address maybe like a counterpoint to it. What I want to say is that I've had quite a lot of testing with the ARC B580 on a Ryzen 5600X. I also just retested two games, Helldivers 2 and Space Marine 2, which you'll see in this video. And I wanted to give a counterpoint. Maybe the fact that the way that Space Marine 2 and Helldivers 2 perform at 1440p, which is what I tested at because I do think that this is a primarily 1440p graphics card, that maybe the results are not as bad as people are saying they are. Now, this isn't me saying that they're wrong, because Hardware Canucks and Hardware Unboxed give you their opinions and they back it up by data. Very credible data, right? And I'm not here to dispute their opinions or their data. What I'm here to do is I'm here to give you my opinion based on my data, and I'm going to share it with you. You can use it to make an informed decision after watching all the videos on whether or not the ARC B580 is for you. Now, one thing I want to get out right off the bat. Especially in single player games and in PvE games, I am okay with the lower frames per second as long as the performance is stable and the game looks good. You'll see it in Space Marine especially. The FPS we're getting didn't bother me. So I just want to get that out there, that picky when it comes to FPS. Like if I see a game, for example, like Cyberpunk running at like 40 FPS, if I don't have to use upscaling and higher resolution native, I'm okay with it. I think the game really plays well at that. So I just want to get that out. So there are going to be people that are going to see my results and say, dude, the data is right in front of you. It's horrible. And my counterpoint is, which I'm going to explain, is this is what I played and I didn't think it was bad at all. After watching both of their videos, I still don't necessarily agree in terms of the Ryzen 5000 series. I'm not here to debate the platforms that I didn't test. And then one more thing I want to address is the raging debate on Twitter about the Intel ARC compatibility list, which you can see in the background right here. It tells you what it supports. Now, I'm with Hardware Canucks and Hardware Unboxed on this. It is ridiculous how hard it was to find this. Like, you literally have to know what you're searching for. So Intel really does need to do a better job with this. Now, the problem also is it literally states right here how to check if my processor supports Intel ARC graphics. And then down here, it literally says list of compatible CPUs with resizable bar. So it's contradictory, and you have people on both sides going, Hardware Unboxed and Hardware Canucks, just look at the CPU compatibility list. And then they're like, it says list of resizable bar enabled CPUs. In this one, I definitely agree with the other tech tubers that this needs to be way easier for people to find. Now, I linked it in my review. I changed it and I updated my review to link this. You need to look at this to see if your CPU supports the ARC B580. But I still think Intel needs to do a way better job on making this easy to find and easy for people to see, because you really have to know what you're looking for this. So I wanted to address that. And now, without further ado, I don't like to have videos where I ramble a lot, but I feel like my opinion's very important in my opinion. And then I also wanted to mention this, and I am going to put timestamps so you can skip right to the gameplay performance as well if you want to skip all this. Alright, so here's Space Marine 2, and I want to state that this machine has resizable bar enabled, Ryzen 5 5600X CPU, and 16 gigs of 2400 megahertz CL18 RAM with XMP profile enabled, and I am playing on 1440p medium graphics native with no upscaling. And you can see that we're floating in the mid 40s. Now, this isn't quite horde mode, but there is a lot going on. And I didn't notice any lag, guys. Now, some people, like I said, might say that this is low FPS and this is horrible, but for me, this performance was fine. Like, I don't know what I'm doing as I'm still playing through single player, but I had an enjoyable time and I didn't feel once that my performance was negatively impacted. So this is just an example of you guys are going to have to do your own research and look at this gameplay and say, can I play at this FPS and does it bother me? If it does, like it does with some of the other YouTubers, then this isn't for you. But like I said, for me, I had no issues with it other than the fact that I stink at this game. But this performance was more than fine for me. Next, we had Helldivers 2 at medium settings with upscaling set to ultra quality. Now, I admit that this was a hard one to test because I couldn't really find any games, so I had to go in on my own. I had to lower the difficulty, which means I'm not going to get as many people. I did have people join at the end, and I'm going to skip to that right now. You can see now we finally have more people on the map, more things going on, and the FPS does start to dip a little bit, but you know, Helldivers is one of those weird CPU-bound games where, honestly, the performance was fine, and I actually didn't notice any issues. Now, remember, I did have upscaling on with this one. You know, it didn't perform as bad as I thought it would on the second pass around, and again, I thought that this was perfectly playable on my 5600X Intel ARC B580 system. So, in conclusion, I actually think that the Ryzen 5 5600X is a fantastic CPU to pair with the Intel ARC B580. Now again, I showed you gameplay and I showed you what I got with my system specs. I think that the cost of the Ryzen 5 5600X is fantastic and I think it's great value, and assuming you can get it for around $100, and I think that pairing it with the B580 is a logical conclusion. I really believe that. So you saw what I got, and my opinion may differ from other tech tubers, but that doesn't mean I'm right, and that doesn't mean they're wrong. I think what you need to do, as I've already said, is you need to look at my gameplay video and draw your own opinion. If you think my FPS was terrible, then don't buy this GPU, and it's a bad GPU to pair with your system. If you're like, oh, I like it, seems fine to me, then buy it. It's very important to watch all of these different videos with different hot takes to form your own opinion. One of the problems I think the internet has, especially the tech space, is that everybody just echoes what somebody else says. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going to buy an ARC B580, you have to see what CPU you have and see if it's worth it for you. I just wanted to prepare an alternate take to what we've seen out there, and I wanted to back it up with my own experiences. Now, I'm not going to comment on other older CPUs because I have not tested them, and you should go watch the other YouTubers' videos who have done content on it, and I'll have links down below to at least Hardware Canucks and Hardware Unbox. But I will say that you definitely need to look at this, and if your CPU isn't on this list, you need to really strongly consider if the ARC B580 is for you. I still think, that said, that the ARC B580 is a fantastic budget and 1440p CPU. And one final thing I'll leave you with, I didn't do any 1080p testing because I do not think this is a 1080p GPU, in my humble opinion. So that's it for this one, and it's important to draw your own conclusion based on the evidence everybody has provided. All right, guys, peace out.